Thank you for being here in Pawtucket. Pawtucket is a great community. We have our Tolman High School. We're here in the auditorium, and to talk about the literacy and the economic education bill, Governor, that you're going to be signing with support of our local reps and senators. But great program here, and I want to recognize Mr. DiOrenzo and Mr. Savastano and the superintendent and her team. Let's give them a round of applause for their hard work. As many of us come up here on the stage and talk about this, right, they've been living it for years. And I was just talking to Hannatha, who is going to, I'm going to introduce in a minute. She's going to talk a little bit about our program. I told her that she has to talk for about an hour about the program, and she gets extra credit, soup, all right, so some extra points to the college, wherever you are. I know she's up here somewhere, so, right? That's the deal, Hannatha, right? Okay, we're good. But all seriously, thank you for being here, Governor McKee, for hosting this important bill signing here. I'd like to also welcome Lieutenant Governor Matos, Treasurer Magazina, Senate President Ruggiero, the Speaker and his team, the Deputy Majority Whip Ackerman, who's here on the stage with us, Senator Kano for your leadership with others on the stage, Superintendent McWilliams, and Dr. Savastano, Chris, who does a great job here at Tolman. He was able to get my son through, so I really appreciate that, and we'll never forget that. So. To the other elected officials here, and if I apologize if I miss anybody, I'll try to catch everybody. But we have Senator Palino, Representative Felix, School Committee Member Joanne Bonolo, and Erin Doobie. I think we have Jeannie Kohler here from LISC, and no partner, a good partner of mine, but no stranger, but the former mayor of Central Falls, Mayor Diosa, who is young enough to be my son now. So I used to call him my brother, but now he's my son. But financial literacy and consumer education are fundamentally important to the development of students and their youths, financial and overall their futures. And you know, the treasurer and I and the governor and I have been here many times, and we've talked to the classes and how important literacy is. And you know, I just was telling a quick story to Hannatha to make her feel comfortable. As she was learning about her financial literacy, my son 2 years ago when he went through this program, he was actually teaching me. I'm the old school, and I went through my checkbook to, you know, my ledger to make sure that I was maintaining that. He's like, Dad, you're getting old. Here's the technology. Here's your debit card. Here are all those things that we do, that the system does for you now. So with these changing times, it's so important and exciting that we're doing that bill signing here. You know, I want to really thank the leadership of one of my favorite senators, because all of my Pawtucket senators are my favorite, but I do have some that I enjoy a little more. But Senator Kano, for her leadership and her commitment, working with Mr. DiOrenzo and the teachers here to get this focus. This has been on her agenda since she's been in the State House, and I appreciate your leadership on that. The students across the state will all benefit from these type of understanding of finance and consumer economics, something I wish that I had when I was in school, and it would have made me a much better mayor. I'm smart enough to hire the right people and put the finance director so she does the literacy and she takes care of the city. But all seriousness, it's important, and I can't stress the importance enough. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and I have the pleasure of introducing Hannatha, a student here at Tolman, in our financial literacy class, who will be attending Bentley in the fall. So Hannatha, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am excited to be here to celebrate such a milestone in the expansion of teaching financial literacy in high school. It's very easy for kids my age to not take in certain subjects if they don't pertain to them, but financial literacy is knowledge everyone should know and should know now. The experience I had with learning how to save better, what credit is, and how to buy a house and car are things that help me a lot, especially as I got my first job a year and a half ago, and helping me as I begin to build my own credit. These aren't things that everyone will seek out on their own, at least until they're older, so learning it now will create so many opportunities. As a senior and a Pawtucket native, I feel proud of the direction the city is going in, and I hope the further teachings of financial literacy will help kids like me. It helped me. Thank you. And I will be introducing Governor Dan McKee.
Thank you. Thank you, Hannatha.
Thank you, Hannah, and good luck at Bentley. That was one of our rivalries when I was at Assumption College, the basketball, so I'm sure it's still there. Well, thank you so much, and Mayor Grebian, too, for hosting this, Don. Thank you for your leadership, and also, as you alluded to, thank you to the students who have survived this year of years, right? And also to all the teachers that are here and that are supporting the students here at Tolman High School. Congratulations to you for the work and a job well done over the last year during this pandemic. I want to recognize the bill sponsors. Well, first, Senator Santacano. Senator Cano, I know, has been very interested in issues that relate to business in her profession, but also as a legislator, knowing how important that foundation is for our young people to understand the value of that the financial literacy, as we call it, or just the ability to manage their dollars and prepare for the future. So congratulations to you, Senator. And of course, my own Deputy Majority Whip, Mayor Ackerman, from my hometown of Cumberland. I can tell you, and I can attest that Mia was on the town council in Cumberland when I was a mayor, and she was interested in this issue as well, making sure that not only the young, her children, but also she helped me start a youth commission in town, and this was a part of the whole deal in terms of working with young people as a mayor, and we're going to try to recreate that in the governor's office too, Mia, so I'll be giving you a call. But anyways, and of course, the Treasurer Magazine, I know that you've been speaking about this for a period of time, and then in your role as Treasurer, understanding that this financial literacy is a key factor in terms of the long-term economic stability for the state of Rhode Island. So thank you for your leadership as well. Getting this bill over the finish line took a lot of work, and I'm happy to see the Senate President here today, and I'm sure that he's responsible as well for moving this forward. So thank you, Senator, for thinking about our young people in the state of Rhode Island. So with the mayor and also the principal, Savastano, and thank you for hosting us today here at Tolman High School this afternoon, where students like Hannah have had the opportunity to learn skills in financial literacy and access the tools they need to succeed after high school and into college. And we want to make sure you come back to Pawtucket, right? Make sure that you take your skills you learn in your college level and bring them back to help our economy here. So 2 weeks ago, and during the budget process, I put in the budget to make the college promise a permanent feature for the state for seniors pursuing a degree at CCRI. And then last week I was able to sign a bill that was passed in the General Assembly to make that a permanent investment in our young people. So this is just another step in that direction. Making an investment in their financial success is an important feature in terms of investing in our young people. So with this bill, we're making sure that when they do enter college or the employment after high school, whatever path they take, they have the knowledge to make financial decisions that will set them up for a stable and self-sufficient future. As someone who has always been invested in education and young people in my community and now in the state of Rhode Island, I'm looking forward to following the success of this consumer education curriculum in our schools. And congratulations again to everyone who worked so hard to make that happen. And with that, I will hand it off to Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos. Sabina, come on up.
Good afternoon. I want to thank Governor McKee and President of the Senate, Ruggiero, for your leadership. We have been signing some very good bills, and it takes leadership. I want to thank you publicly for making sure that those bills get passed and moving. And thank you, Governor, for signing this bill. I also would like to say to Treasurer McKee Sr., who has been working really hard on this issue, thank you. In Senator Cano and Deputy Majority Leader the majority whip, let me get that right, Ackerman, for your leadership in this issue. For Senator Cano, I'm just going to say it also in español. Muchísimas gracias a la senadora Cano porque ella ha estado trabajando en esto por mucho tiempo. Este ha sido su tópico número 1 que ella ha estado enfocada. So, felicidades. Congratulations. I also want to welcome Commissioner. Of course, hold on, I'm the host of the city, Mayor Gravely, and thank you so much for hosting us here. So glad to be back in your city. I also want to recognize the Commissioner Infante Green, who's here, and also the Superintendent, Dr. McWilliams. Thank you all for coming together for this important bill signing. As I said, Senator Cano and Rep. Ackerman has made this issue a priority. They know the importance that our students learn about financial literacy in our schools. I can tell you that whenever our kids start going to college, one of the first pieces of mail that they get is about credit cards. It happens to me. My first credit card, I got it because I started getting pieces of mail when I was going to college. And they don't understand what they're signing for. It's good to help you build credits, but that's the one thing that we think about, but we don't think about all the number of deaths that we get into because of that. So this piece of legislation is so important. And I know that for the kids, when you talk about this topic, they just roll their eyes and they don't want to hear about it. But it's so important that they get to learn this topic in school. I was speaking with some parents that have their kids that go to some private school that are very expensive private schools. And they were telling me about how they learn about financial literacy there and how they learn about what a compound interest is. So this is important information that our kids and our communities need. So again, I'm just so thankful to the sponsors for making this happen and for the leadership of the Senate and the House for prioritizing this bill. So with that, I just want to introduce Treasurer Magazine, who has been leading the effort, making sure that this bill passed and giving support to the both the sponsors at the House and the Senate. Treasurer Magazine.
Well, thank you all for coming out on this hot day for such a momentous and special event. Thank you to Mayor Grebian and everyone from Pawtucket and Tolman for hosting us, Governor McKee, Lieutenant Governor Matos, Commissioner Infante Green, Senate President Ruggiero, our bill sponsors, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, and all of you, because this was a real team effort to get this over the finish line. The research is clear that when students have access to high-quality personal finance education in the K through 12 schools, it leads to better outcomes later in life. The data shows it. When students have access to education on how to budget, how to save, how to invest, on average, those kids go on to have higher credit scores, lower debt, lower likelihood of ever taking out a payday loan, and all kinds of other better financial outcomes. So this works. It matters. I started out my career as a public school teacher. I taught 3rd and 4th grade, and I taught personal finance education to my students. And they got it from a young age. Kids want this. I always would say, if you don't think that young kids can handle a financial education course, watch what happens at the elementary school level in the lunchrooms and the transactions that happen with like snacks and food, and it would put any Wall Street trader to shame. Kids can do this. They want to do it. And so I wanted to give credit to just a handful of people who helped get us to this point, because it started with the students. Way back in 2014, a group of students from East Greenwich High School, led by Pat Page, former Rhode Island Teacher of the Year, who is here and has worked tremendously. She deserves a round of applause, yeah. Those students started a lobbying effort to get personal finance education in all schools in Rhode Island, starting with the adoption of the first voluntary personal finance standards back in 2014. In 2018, our office released a report on the state of financial education in Rhode Island called Fallen Behind, where we showed, among other things, that 37 other states had personal finance education in their curriculum. Rhode Island was an outlier in not guaranteeing this for our students. And in particular, this was an equity issue because most of the suburban districts were offering it, many of the urban districts were not. Pawtucket, I have to say, was a positive outlier among the urban districts and a real leader, which is part of why we're here today. Around that same time that we were working on the report, somebody said to me, I was at some event, and they said, you know, this Sandra Cano, who's running for state senate, she says she wants to make financial literacy one of her top issues. And I was like, what? This is great. And we got together. And that was the beginning of a 3-year-long process in getting this bill over the finish line. Would not have happened without the leadership of Senator Cano in the Senate and Senate President Ruggiero and the whole Senate leadership team. They passed this bill the very first year unanimously. It's been unanimously passed in the Senate every time. I want to recognize, even though he's not here, our original House sponsor was Joe McNamara, the chairman of the House Education Committee. Those first 2 years, a great champion for financial literacy. But all through that time, Deputy Whip Ackerman was saying, I love this financial literacy, I'm passionate about it, can I please be the bill sponsor? And because she believed in it so much. And so this year she became the primary bill sponsor, and this year we're here for a bill signing. So thank you, Whip Ackerman. I'll end with this. This is the product of a huge team effort. I mentioned Pat Page, Margaret Brooks from Jumpstart, all of our Financial Empowerment Roundtable members. We launched the Financial Empowerment Roundtable to bring together community members who care about financial education and empowerment, and we have a number of you here today. I'm not going to list you all individually, but representatives from banks, from nonprofits, from government agencies who care about personal finance education, who know it matters, who showed up again and again and again. Oh, and I have to mention, speaking of Jumpstart, we were all at the Jumpstart conference a year and a half ago before COVID. Commissioner Infante Green had just arrived in Rhode Island, was the guest speaker, and got up and pledged that she would make financial education a priority. And even with everything else on her plate, she has done that, and I want to thank you, Commissioner, for that. Last, again, this is a team effort. I want to thank my team for their role in getting this done. We have both of our deputy treasurers here, Lamas Vargas and Sharon Rose. Sharon is our deputy treasurer for financial empowerment. She has worked so hard on this from when we were first working on the report to turning people out to all the hearings, making sure everyone was educated, making sure legislators were educated. We have a tradition in our office where every time we have a bill that we've worked on is signed, and there's a pen that's given out, I always give the pen to a member of our team who worked on the bill. And sometimes it's tough because we work as a team and it's a hard decision sometimes. This is an easy decision. We would not be here today without Sharon Rose. So I don't know where Sharon is, but oh, they were there in the back. Thank you, Sharon. So the future is brighter now for a lot of Rhode Island students. With these skills, with this education, more Rhode Island students will be put on the path to success. Thank you to all of you for getting us here. Thank you to the governor for signing the bill. It is now my pleasure to introduce our office's greatest partner in the Senate on financial literacy issues, someone who has made this a priority from day one and is now the chair of the Senate Education Committee from right here in Pawtucket, Senator Sandra Cano. Senator. Great job.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. Thank you, Treasurer. Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, my mayor, Mayor Grebian. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us to sign this important law that will affect every single child in Rhode Island. As we know, our children go to school so that they can be prepared for life as independent adults. Reading, science, math, languages, history are all important areas of study for our children to understand and apply later in life. Yet, they were missing a crucial topic of teaching that will dictate the course of their entire lives. That was financial literacy. Financial literacy education has been a priority of mine since I entered my professional career. And then when I was elected to the Senate, as the treasurer said, it was clear to me that would be my #1 legislative priority. Throughout the years, I kept asking the same questions. How can a child grow into a responsible and independent adult if they don't know how a credit card works? How can a child own a home in the future if they have no concept of mortgages and debt? How can a child achieve independence as an adult without the knowledge of how savings accounts and banking works? We were doing a huge disservice to our children when they become legal adults without the basic financial knowledge needed to navigate our complex financial system. And sadly, this is essentially true for our children who come from minority and immigrant households. Many of our children from these backgrounds simply do not have the financial knowledge and literacy at home that many other children have, and it is up to us to make sure that these children are taught these basic financial tools at school. It is time that we stop failing our children by sending them out into the world without these basic tools. And what we're doing here today is exactly that, supporting them so they are successful. Their future success depends upon us to educate and prepare them for the world, and it is not possible without teaching them financial literacy. This bill was truly a team effort. The treasurer said it took a village. Many people have collaborated to make sure we were here today. I want to give a special thank you to Treasurer Magazine for his partnership, for believing in me, for your advocacy, and a big shout out to his team members. He mentioned amazing Sharon Rose. Without her passion and tireless support, helping us organize, doing research since day #1, this wouldn't be happening today. So Sharon, where are you? You deserve a huge shout out. It took us 3 years, but along her, someone that is not here today was also Leanne Byrne for constantly taking my calls and helping me through the process. Thank you to the support of my Senate colleagues, especially to Senate President Ruggiero. Honestly, the day that I walked into the Senate, he opened the arms and welcomed me there, but the first question that he asked was your priority. I say financial literacy, and he said, I'm with you on that. And since that day, we've been able to work along for 3 years, passing in the Senate unanimously because of his leadership and all the leadership team. So thank you so much, President. But this is my opportunity to highlight also that when it comes to good legislation in our state, there is no party lines. You heard that? No party lines. And this bill is a testament to it. A huge thank you and shout out to my amigo, Senator Paulino, who's here with us today, who had been my partner in the Senate in financial literacy since I arrived in 2017. Senator Paulino is a Republican, but it doesn't matter. He advocated with me, and we made sure every time this legislation was on the floor, it passed unanimously, and we made sure that every time this legislation was introduced, that we have at least almost all senators co-sponsor it. That is huge, and that is thank you to you, Senator Paulino, thank you. And to my partner in the House of Representatives, Deputy Whip Mia Ackerman, you really rock. I remember that when I got there as a senator first, I saw you giving a tour to students at the State House because you were really passionate about making sure that every young student have the opportunity to educate themselves and be successful. And I do learn after this year that it was financial literacy one of your top priorities since you were in the City Council. So I am really, really happy that you make it a reality, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Treasurer Say, I also like to say thank you to Chairman McNamara and the House leadership, Speaker Shikashi, for your support passing this amazing legislation for our students. Governor McKee, Lieutenant Governor, Commissioner Alfonte Green, and the riot staff. Really, when we make things together, we are better as a state, and this is a testament of it. And of course, thank you to my friend Don Grevian and Superintendent McWilliams, and school committee members. I have here school committee member Erin Duvey and Joan Banolo, that since day one, they've been with me at this and supporting the students at the Pawtucket schools. And to our principal, Savastano, for opening the doors here in Pawtucket to have this historic event. To the financial empowerment members, we did it. Your advocacy and input was invaluable. To the teachers, administrators, partners, students who testified through the years, gracias. But this is the time when I recognize, and I couldn't do this job without the support, my support system. My family is my number one. That is why it's important to me to have them here with me today. To my parents, thank you. I love you, and I couldn't do it without you. I love you. And also to my life partner, James, and my daughter. I appreciate your support, so today we can be here at my first bill signing, and it's very emotional to have my daughter, Ariana Halel, because she represents our future. And I am glad that she and many Rhode Island kids will be able to be impacted by this legislation in the future. Last but not least, to my employer, who also, I'm proud to say, have committed to financial literacy education for years. As Principal Savastano would mention, probably, that when I was in the school committee, I came and I met with him about a program that Navigant Credit Union have, Ever 5. It was at Navigant in my full-time position as a community development officer where I was able to see firsthand the impact of financial education and how it was clear to me that our young families and students needed an understanding of the basic financial skills and tools. If you know me well, you know I'm proud to be an employee by Navigant Credit Union. I am most enthusiastic about the mission of our credit union movement, and I'm truly live the motto of helping people, people helping people. Every day I thank God for the opportunities He provides me and they provide to me, and how they believe in me. I couldn't have been here today without the support, flexibility, and experience that I have gained in my job. Thank you to President and CEO Gary Furtado, for the leadership team and Navigant Credit Union, and of course, my boss, Randy Sacolaru, for your immense support, and most importantly, for your help and the help that you give all as a financial institution to provide many Rhode Island students and families already with the Ever 5 Financial Literacy Program with responsible products and services, and for providing the financial education in different languages so it reaches our most unneeded population as well. Thank you, Randy. He's here with us today. Lastly, I know I had a lot of thank yous, but this was very important for me. I want to leave you with this. We are here at Tolman High School because this is a place where I have seen financial literacy work. I'm proud to say that Principal Savastano, since the first time I met him, he said, I'm ready for it. I was in the school committee then, and he said, we need to provide this opportunity to our students. Then Professor Robert DiResso incorporated in the business department. Professor, thank you so much for also doing all the work that it takes to make the students successful. This is the opportunity when I want to give the shout out to all the teachers and administrators that do what it takes to see students be successful. And the most important person of the program today that you already heard of, Hanatha, you know that you make all of us proud. She is our future, and what a bright future we do have. She truly represents what every student in Rhode Island should have, and she does advocate for them to have the same opportunities that she had here at Tolman. We're proud of you, and we can't wait to follow your journey, and let's make all Rhode Island schools the same as Tolman. To conclude, an honor to be here with all of you. I'm so happy our General Assembly passed this legislation to ensure that Rhode Island kids get the financial education that they deserve and that will benefit them so much later in life. I think it is all for me, but before I finish, I'd like to really call to the stage Senator Paulino to say a few words.
So thank you very much, Chairwoman Cano. Thank you to everybody on this stage who has made this signage possible. And thank you everyone who's here today with us. I am so proud of this bipartisan bill, which has passed with my friend and colleague, and in that order, let me say that again, my friend and colleague, Senator Cano, to accomplish this goal of making every student in Rhode Island financially literate and responsible. This bill is very similar to one of the first pieces of legislation I ever submitted as an elected official. And every year I say that there is no better time to pass financial literacy. And with the devastating pandemic, I cannot think of a more important time to teach our young people how to responsibly and successfully manage their finances. In my own life, I remember as a teenager working at Target and not knowing how to manage my paycheck, and boy did it go quickly. Or the importance of budgeting for discretionary teenage expenses, which were very important to me at the time. It's twice as important when the electric, phone, rent, and grocery bills become a young person's responsibility. With that said, I would like to echo the comments of Chairwoman Cano. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of this legislation, and I look forward to witnessing its passage today. Thank you. And with that, I would like to welcome to the stage my colleague, Senator Ackerman.
That's right. Deputy Majority Whip Nia Ackerman, my partner and team member. Thank you so much. We did this.
Thank you. And thank you for those wonderful words, Senator. They were very passionate. I'm so excited to be here today as Governor McKee signs this legislation that will give students a leg up when it comes to being a smart consumer. It's important that students like all of you here at Tolman and throughout our state learn about critical issues such as credit and debt. You need to know how high interest rates can bury you in debt for many years and can hurt your chances of buying a house when you get older. The legislation I was proud to introduce in the House will clearly set forth the skills that all students need to be proficient in financial literacy. We've all seen it. A young person buys a car believing it to be a really good deal, but then it turns out they're paying really high interest rates because they just don't understand how financing works. We might expect these skills to be taught at home, but that shouldn't be taken for granted. Learning the fundamentals of savings and investing and how to maintain credit should be as basic as reading, writing, and arithmetic in school. And thanks to this bill that Governor McKee is about to sign, it will be. I'd like to thank my colleagues in the House for approving this legislation. I'd also like to acknowledge Senator Cano and her Senate colleagues, as well as Representative Felix, who is in the audience, and General Treasurer Seth Magaziner for his extremely strong support of this bill. I am confident this legislation will now ensure that all Rhode Island students will be able to better navigate the financial landscape once they reach the real world. Thank you.
Let me see who's next. I'm not speaking again. Commissioner, you're up. We're making a daily event of this, right? Getting together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Deputy Majority Whip Ackerman, for the introduction. That's what my talking points say. No, but really, I'm so happy to be here this afternoon because I'm not going to repeat what was said, but I will repeat one thing that was really important. Ever since I arrived here, it's been 2 years last month, everyone here on stage has made education a priority from day one. And I have to say that that's what makes Rhode Island special, that we could come together, let me take my mask off, to do right by students. And that's what keeps driving us to do better. I want to thank the governor for making this happen. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos for always pushing forward. General Treasurer Magaziner, because we sat down and had this conversation when I first arrived here and we started planning. Senator Cano, unbelievable. Majority Whip Ackerman, Senate President, who I have to say has sat me down and said, Commissioner, make sure you get it done. And in that tone. But I have to say that Mayor Grebian, Pawtucket School District, Superintendent, this is an exciting day because this is a day that we put students first, that we understand that our students need this, not just to survive, but to thrive. I've sat down with high school students. Last year we ran our summer program and they said, I don't have the skills, they're in their first year in college, to really work at this. I'm learning things that I should have known. I have a 10-year-old at home that every time we walk into a store thinks you just can buy things. Says, Mom, but you have a credit card. No, that's not how that works. So we are doing a disservice, but not providing the skills and the knowledge that our students need. If we don't do this early on, our students are in a position that they cannot access an apartment, a car, or even buy a house later in the future because they don't know how to manage debt or how not to get into debt. And especially for our communities of color or our impoverished communities, this is a life skill that it is our responsibility in the education field to teach and make sure that our students in Rhode Island push forward and can compete with students in other states. So to all of you, thank you. Thank you. This is a big day for us in Rhode Island, and we have hit the ground running. You're signing this bill. We already met. What's today? Wednesday? We met on Monday to really make this happen. What is it going to look like? How do we actually execute on the ground? And that's what RIDE's promise is, that we're going to execute for every student in Rhode Island in partnership with the Treasurer's Office, with teachers, with students, with experts in the field, so that we can move together forward the same way you see here on stage today. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to do this work alongside you. Thank you very much. And now I'd have the pleasure of introducing our superintendent.
Good afternoon. I would also like to thank Governor McKee, Lieutenant Governor, our Treasurer Magaziner, our Senator Cano, Deputy Whip Ackerman, our Education Commissioner Infante Green, thank you. I know Senate President Ruggiero is here and Senator Paolino. I'd like to thank our Mayor Donald Grebian and our Lieutenant Governor and of course Hanukkah, the people visiting us from all over Rhode Island just to be here as part of this, my district office staff and school committee members. What I'd like to say first before sharing a few words is what you're seeing before you is a milestone, as I believe Hannah said, but it's also about leadership, because behind you, you see individual people in roles of leadership, but collectively what they can do. And so I stand here as a proud superintendent and thank each and every one of you for allowing me to participate and speak on behalf of the Pawtucket School Department and the strides that we are making in regards to financial literacy and consumer education. Tolman High School was an early adopter of financial literacy, as you will hear, I'm sure, from Principal Savastano. And this will continue to expand across our high schools, and we are also intending to expand it to our middle schools. The heart of a strong community, as you've heard already, begins with our students. They are the ones that are our citizens now and our future. And their future success depends on access to a strong financial literacy and consumer education. We are encouraged and look forward to the work ahead in support of this new legislation and the statewide standards that will be coming forth from RIDE on consumer education. This will propel our students and our community forward with the skills, competencies, and knowledge needed for future success. We are excited for the strong partnerships that it will foster and know that by expanding these authentic opportunities for students, it is also going to strengthen our community. Thank you for the forward thinking and the continued support of this critical mission, not only for Tolman High School, but across the entire state. Thank you to our leaders. We appreciate you. It is my great pleasure to introduce Principal Savastano.
Well, I was hoping the governor would have to introduce me, so. Thank you. So 9 years ago, I was asked by then school committee member, Cano, to meet with her to talk about this financial literacy program that Navigant Credit Union had developed, EverFi. And, you know, EverFi developed this program to help their customers. It was not designed for them to make money. And Senator Cano, she recognized that, boy, wouldn't this be great if kids could use the same program as our customers? And so I met with her, and I think you've seen this afternoon, when you sit in a room with her, she's extremely passionate and extremely energetic, and how could I say no? So I brought it back to the school, and I brought it to our accounting teacher, Mr. DeRezzo, who's also the coordinator of our Marketing and Management Academy, and I said, is there any way that you can integrate this into your curriculum? And he said, absolutely. And I'm proud to stand here today and inform you that in 4 out of the last 5 years, Tolman High School has finished in the top 5 in the State Financial Challenge, including first place this past year. So thank you, Mr. DeRezzo. But to be honest, Senator Cano, she didn't have to convince me that much to accept this, because I was a mathematics major at Providence College, and you know, coming out of college, having taken advanced calculus, differential equations, modern algebra, I thought I was all set when it came to financial literacy. And I learned real fast that I was not. So when I started teaching math, I tried to integrate financial literacy into my curriculum as early as back in the early 90s when I was teaching at Parkview Middle School. And I used to have the kids fill out blank checks, although I knew enough to take my number off. Well, there was no money in there anyway, but I would have the students fill out blank checks when we were working on, you know, adding decimals and basically adding and subtracting whole numbers, really. And then later on in the late 90s, I'll just tell one quick story and then I'll be done. But in the, you know, when you're a math teacher, one of the things that they tell you when you're going through the program, kids are always going to ask you, you know, what am I going to do with this? That's a math teacher's nightmare. So when I was teaching at Cranston West in 1998, I was teaching a class called Consumer Math, and I said, I have to do something with these kids to make them interested. So we joined the Providence Journal Challenge, which was an investment challenge. The problem was I knew nothing about investing, but I could handle the mathematics portion of it. So, I enrolled 4 teams from my class in the statewide program. There were over 500 teams in the state. A team could be 2 to 4 students. So the journal, you were given $10,000 in fictitious money, and you had to invest it. So I had a group of young ladies, and the first day they said, Mr. Sav, we're going to invest all our money in Yahoo. And I said, guys, you can't do that. I'm not an investor, but I know, we have to learn, how to diversify. Well, the results started coming in every week, and the next thing you know, they're in the top 100. Then they're in the top 50. Then they're in the top 25. So another group in the class said, Mr. Saab, you know what? We like you and everything, but we're not going to diversify. We're going to put all our money in AOL. I said, guys, come on, you're killing me now, So remember, this is 1998. So now it's mid-March. Now I have 2 teams in the top 25. Then I have 2 teams in the top 10. So now I have another group say, Mr. Saab, enough's enough. We're taking half of our money in Yahoo and half in AOL. So the program ends, we finished in 2nd, 5th, and 7th in the state. So the top 5 teams made it to the, were invited to a luncheon at the Providence Journal. And I'll tell you, it was one of the most incredible things as a teacher to bring my kids there. They were so excited. The only problem was I didn't realize they were going to have us come up and describe our investment strategy. So I was at the table, I said, guys, just let me do the talking, please. And they're like, that's fine, Mr. Saab, you do what you need to do. So I got, fortunately, a couple of the schools before us said, yes, you know, we had some money in Yahoo and we had some money in AOL. So I just, you know, we got up there and I said, look, you know, we invested in Yahoo and AOL as well. We recognized the boom in technology and we just wrote it. And that was the end of it. But I never forget, you know, students from that class stopping me in the hallways, asking me, like, you know, they wanted to invest their own money because they saw what was happening. And it was really eye-opening. So, you know, teaching financial literacy is something that, again, I've been doing personally since 1992. Senator Cano did not have to convince me that much because I do believe it is extremely valuable. I believe this is one of the most important legislations for education that our students will benefit from. Next to the Promise program, I'm glad the governor mentioned that because our students take advantage of that program perhaps more than any in the state. And it is a wonderful, wonderful program for our students. And thank you so much for making that a permanent piece of legislation. So that's it. I don't think I'm introducing anyone else, so I'll take a seat.